The clock strikes midnight, July 1986. 19-year-old Stephanie Brown waves goodbye to her friends, ponytail bouncing as she walks toward her car. She remembers the simple directions to take Interstate 5 north. But in the darkness, north becomes south. A wrong turn becomes a death sentence. A fisherman makes a horrifying discovery on a remote mountain trail outside Sacramento. The semi-nude body of a young woman lies face down in a flooded irrigation ditch. Around her neck, a purple band of death. Ligature strangulation marks tell their silent story. The victim is Stephanie Brown. But something chills investigators to the bone. Her long ponytail is gone, cut clean off. Detective Ray Biondi stares at the crime scene photos, knowing he's dealing with someone who harbors a very perverse fetish. In hundreds of murder investigations, he has never seen anything like this. The killer has taken a trophy. This is only the beginning. 1 month later, Interstate 5 claims another victim. Charmaine Sabra and her mother find themselves stranded with car trouble on a deserted stretch of highway. A man in a dark sports car appears like a vulture circling prey. The man explains he can only take one passenger in his 2-seater vehicle. Charmaine never returns. 3 months pass before hunters discover her scattered remains in the Sierra Nevada foothills. The cause of death is strangulation. But the killer's signature becomes horrifyingly clear. Her clothing tells a grotesque story. The side seam of her blouse cut and wrapped around her neck, yellow nylon cord joining the makeshift ligature, pantyhose sliced and bound around her wrists, strategic cuts to her slip and bra straps. Criminalist Jim Streeter examines the evidence with growing unease. The clothes cutting is so unusual it becomes the killer's calling card. This isn't just murder, it's ritual. 2 weeks later, another body appears. 20-year-old Laura Hedick lies hogtied with her own tank top, the fabric looped around her neck in a grotesque bow of death. The same non-functional cutting pattern, the same signature. But this victim breaks the established pattern. She's a prostitute. The killer is evolving, expanding his hunting grounds from highway breakdowns to street corners. Police launched desperate countermeasures. Decoys dressed as prostitutes patrolled downtown Sacramento, while officers pose as stranded motorists along Interstate 5. The killer remains one step ahead of every trap. June 21st, 1987. A family hiking trip becomes a nightmare when they discover blood splattered on a remote trail in Deer Creek. Karen Finch, a 25-year-old divorced mother of a 2-year-old, has vanished. Her car is found operational near Interstate 5, sandals still inside. She hadn't planned to walk far, but this time, something has gone catastrophically wrong. Detective Biondi finds the clue that changes everything. A fragment of duct tape tangled in what remains of Karen's hair. Detective Biondi realizes this is what happened in the Stephanie Brown case. That's why her hair was cut. The killer uses duct tape to gag his victims, always cutting it away before leaving because he knows the adhesive holds fingerprints. But Karen fought back. When she struggled, he used what was in his hand, scissors, to stab her to death. Weeks later, 17-year-old Darcy Frackenpole becomes victim number 5. Her nude body is discovered near Lake Tahoe, strangled with her own blouse twisted into a garrote. 2 pieces of rope are found nearby, nylon parachute cord. The killer's signature remains constant across every scene. The clothes cutting isn't functional, it's compulsive. So important that he carries scissors to every crime. After 18 months of terror, police have only one lead. The killer's signature, the rope, the cutting, the ritual. Then, fate intervenes. Downtown Sacramento, Street prostitute Deborah Guffey climbs into a customer's car, but when he parks, violence erupts. He smashes her head into the dashboard and tries to handcuff her. Guffey escapes, and a patrol officer witnesses the assault. The man arrested is 48-year-old Roger Kibbe, storage facility manager, married, father. But his background reveals a chilling pattern stretching back 30 years. He was arrested at 15 for stealing women's underwear and cutting it randomly with his mother's scissors. He's a parachutist. His brother is a homicide detective. In Kibbe's cars, police find rope with garrots tied at the ends, handcuffs, scissors. Detective Biondi recognizes who their killer is, but they lack evidence to file murder charges. Criminalist Faye Springer, an expert in trace evidence, examines thousands of hairs and fibers from the crime scenes with methodical precision. On Darcy Frackenpole's dress, she finds 2 blue carpet fibers, triangular, nylon, DuPont manufactured. They match Kibbe's car carpet perfectly, same color, size, shape, polymer. Chemical dye. But under the microscope, Springer sees something else. Football-shaped particles contaminate the fibers. Fungal spores. The same spores contaminate Kibbe's car floor mat. Human hair from a victim's dress matches hair from Kibbe's inner thigh. The smoking gun lies in the pantyhose used to bind Charmaine Sabra. Springer understands that when pantyhose come off, they come off inside out, something men wouldn't know. Turned properly, the pantyhose reveals fibers matching Kibbe's car seat. The rope analysis becomes the coup de grace. 3 pieces of parachute cord, 1 from Darcy's crime scene, 2 from Kibbe's possession. Springer examines them under standard magnification. White nylon, precisely manufactured. She counts methodically. 6 fibers running through the core, 32 threads per cord. Industrial-grade parachute rope. All 3 pieces match perfectly. But then Springer switches to high-powered microscopy, and the invisible becomes visible. Scattered across the rope's surface like cosmic dust are red paint particles. Each one microscopic, measuring exactly 6 microns wide, 6 millionths of a meter. Invisible to the naked eye, but damning under scientific scrutiny. She prepares samples for elemental analysis using a scanning electron microscope. The machine bombards the paint with electrons, revealing its atomic signature. 10 elements emerge, the standard chemical cocktail of red acrylic paint. But 2 additional elements appear, sodium and chlorine. These aren't paint ingredients. They're airborne contaminants, salt particles floating in the atmosphere when the paint was sprayed. All 3 rope pieces yield identical results. The scientific conclusion becomes inescapable. All 3 rope pieces were present in the same location at the exact moment someone used red acrylic spray paint. The atmospheric conditions, the contamination pattern, the particle distribution. It's like a microscopic fingerprint of time and place. The cordage is the coup de grace. It places Roger Kibbe at those scenes with absolute scientific certainty. March 18th, 1991. Roger Kibbe is found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years to life. The courtroom sits in stunned silence as the verdict reverberates through the packed gallery. Families of the victims clutch each other, tears streaming down their faces. Not tears of joy, but of exhausted relief, mixed with inconsolable grief. But the story has one final, devastating chapter that will haunt everyone involved. Days before the trial's conclusion, investigators make a calculated decision. They arrange for Kibbe to speak with his wife in the confined space of a patrol car, knowing that this intimate setting might break through his walls of denial. Hidden recording equipment captures every word of what unfolds. The reunion is devastating to witness. Two people who once shared a life together now sit separated by an unbridgeable chasm of horror. His wife's face shows the weight of months spent questioning everything she thought she knew about the man she married. Her hands tremble as she looks into the eyes of someone who has become a stranger. In that moment of raw, unguarded emotion, both sobbing uncontrollably, the facade finally crumbles. Kibbe's voice breaks as he makes his devastating admission. He confesses to killing 5 people, then corrects himself to 4. The distinction seems meaningless in the face of such monumental evil, yet he makes it with the precision of someone who has counted his victims obsessively. When his wife demands an explanation for these unspeakable acts, his response becomes perhaps the most chilling aspect of the entire confession. He offers no answer. He cannot explain his actions, cannot rationalize the compulsion that drove him to hunt and kill innocent women. The man who planned these murders with methodical precision, who carried scissors as tools of his ritual, who collected trophies from his victims, sits empty-handed when confronted with the fundamental question of motivation. Stephanie Brown's mother, Jo Allen, speaks at the sentencing. Her voice breaks with grief and rage as she declares the sentence insufficient. Her daughter lies dead, along with many other girls, while this man dismisses it as no significant matter. She reflects on her daughter's final moments, the horror the victims must have felt, how frightened they must have been. The Interstate Killer sits behind bars, but for the families of his victims, justice feels hollow against the magnitude of their loss. 5 young women, 5 lives cut short by a man who collected their suffering like trophies. The highways are safe again. The nightmare is over. But questions remain. How many more victims were there? How many families still wait for answers? Some evil leaves scars that never heal.